Okay, I'm back. Oh my God. Why is it so hard to talk to the camera? Anyway, so I've made this lovely sign for my wife, and I've used some free softwood, pallet wood basically. It was just kicking about outside of the workshop, so I thought I'd make something nice for her. I think I did, but she mentioned to me that the sort of more beginner woodworkers, people that just want to watch it for fun sometimes, may not know why I do certain things the way I do. So in this video we're just gonna focus on that a little bit, and yeah, let's get into it. I'm rambling. So I've just prepared just a couple of little pieces of softwood, just to show you how they come straight off the planer, and why I used a hand plane to get the joints a little bit tighter. These aren't too bad. Like, they come off the planer reasonably square and tight. The joint looks good, but it's not perfect. Now, the reason I use the hand plane, firstly, is because I like using it, and secondly is to get a tighter joint. When you glue just two little bits of wood like this, just let me point the camera down a little bit towards the wood. There we go. So as it is now, as it stands, it's not bad, but it's not perfect. And I found that the more pressure you use on the clamps, the more likely it is that your panel isn't going to stay straight. It's just going to want to curve up, down, and yes, I know, cawls and all that stuff. You'll see I do use cawls sometimes. Well, most times. But the more pressure you put on the clamps, the more likely it is that your panel is going to bow, whatever it is you're trying to make. Now, I hope the camera can pick up. I'm just holding it like finger tight. On this end, there is a slight gap. Now, it doesn't really matter how much pressure I put. The joint's still a little bit open. Yes, a clamp is going to hold it a lot tighter, but I think by using a hand plane, you don't have to put that much pressure to have a tight joint. And as much as I like to blame the machines for the errors in my projects, because yes, I do make mistakes, it's mostly human error that gives you open joints, assuming that your machines are tuned up. Sometimes we just don't push the wood through the machine in the same way. So yeah, so by using a hand plane, I found that it just requires less pressure to actually keep the joint tight. Now, I did use a couple of tools in part one of the videos I was talking about earlier. I've used the Festool Domino. Great machine. It seems like very, very divisive on YouTube for whatever reason. I'm lucky enough I have access to one. It's very, very, very handy. Now, you don't have to have one, and you'll see, hopefully, in my next project that I didn't use it. I'm hoping the results are gonna be really good. And I've also used Lamello, the Lamello Zeta P2. Great tool, again, and very, very handy. I just use them just to make my life a little bit easier when gluing the panel. When you glue just two bits of wood like this, no big deal. it can be done very easily. But when you try and glue 5 or 6 or 7, depending on the size of the panel you're making, it may not be as easy. Let me point the camera maybe to my face a little bit. Let's see if the camera can find me. Hi, I'm here. Okay, there we go. Let's see. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, stop following me now. I'm gonna just turn you back quickly. I will fire my cameraman and my director. Oops. Okay, so as I was saying, great tools to have, but you don't have to use them. I only use them sometimes, most times, but you can do without them. So yeah, hopefully a hand plane you don't have to spend a lot of money on them. I do own a second-hand Stanley, a number 4, and my new Quansheng, which I made a video about. This beauty here, this is the Quansheng 5.5. So yeah, they just make your life a little bit easier when gluing up panels and stuff. I have made panels in the past where I've used too much pressure on the clamps, and the panels did cup. Even with coals, after releasing the clamps and everything, the panels just cupped. So yeah, use a hand plane. I'm gonna preach here a little bit. Be patient. I'm not always. I should, but I'm not. Anyway, yeah. So just 1 second. Here's the lovely domino. It's the DF500. Great tool, very, very helpful. Now, luckily for me, in the first video, when I've glued the panel, it was very, very hot in the UK. I think it was over 30 degrees. And had I not used the domino and the lamello, I think I would have had trouble, because I did find that the glue towards the end of the glue up was starting to go off a little bit. So by using the connectors, the lamello connectors, the boards were closer together, so I didn't have to worry as much, which made the glue up easier. If I had to use coals and all of that stuff, I think I might have been in trouble. It turned out, the panel turned out really good. Just watch the video, hopefully you like it. Yeah, great, great tools. I'm very lucky to have access to them. Just let me show you how we can get this joint just a little bit tighter quickly. Just a quick hand plane action. There's just not much to it. See if that made a difference. I think just by cleaning up the marks from the blades, I've got a tighter joint already. Now if I do the other side, hopefully you can hear it skipping across. And by not taking a lot of material, you're that much closer to the sizes that you wanted for the panel. Seems like there's a slight belly in the middle, but that can be cured easily. Let me turn it this way. Just a little bit of finger pressure, nothing more. Much tighter glue line. And with a little bit more patience and a few more minutes with the hand plane, and if you do find a belly in the middle, just plane a little bit from the middle. Take a full pass. Let's see what we get now. There we go, much better. Even less pressure, I'm barely holding the wood together. Yes, use a square, check for square all the time if you have a reference space. Check for square, adjust as necessary. It just makes it so much easier. That's perfect to my eyes. Granted, I don't have the best eyes in the world, but it looks really good to me. And as long as the glue up is nice and straight and level, barely any pressure. Lovely tight joint line. Use a bit of glue. Just rub the boards together. Hold them a little bit with your hands tight. Then pop a couple clamps on. And you're off to the races. That looks really good. Now yes, the domino, great. Use it for alignment. I don't think it adds any strength. There's lots of videos on YouTube about what the domino does and doesn't do. So, okay, what's next? What did I do that maybe you want to know about? What else? So we've covered panel, a little bit of the glue up, the tools I used. Give me a second here, let me think about this for a minute. Next step in the process after glue up was staining. So yeah, I like using stain on certain projects. After the stain I used a water-based lacquer, simply because of the smell. We tend to use in the workshop sometimes AC lacquer. I don't like the smell of that. It's very, very strong and it just smells for days on end. So I prefer water-based lacquers for that reason. They dry pretty quick, not as quick as the AC lacquer, which I found, incidentally, Sometimes I hope I have the video. I'm gonna show it in one of my future projects. It can sometimes leave a bumpy finish. I've tried sanding, I've tried all sorts. I prefer water-based lacquer. It just leaves a more natural finish, if you want. So yeah, that's what I used. Okay, you hopefully watched the second part of the sign I made, and you saw me using a CNC. It's a hobby level CNC. It's not a pro level CNC in any way, shape or form, but it's very, very handy. A few years ago when we started using it, I didn't even know how to use a laptop properly. I've learned a lot in the past, I think 5 years since we had this little CNC. I think the bed, the usable area, it's about 1250 millimeters by 1250. Great little tool. And whoever says that using a CNC is not woodworking, well, that's their opinion. As far as I'm concerned, any skill that you can add to your arsenal, great. Just use it, do it. It just gave me the chance to do so many different things, learn so many different things. Like using the laptop. I've never owned a laptop before, just never did. So by having the CNC, I've actually learned to use the laptop a little bit. It's not coming very easy for me, but yeah, it's great. Now, I know I should probably fire my video editor too, i.e. me, but in all seriousness, now I'm learning to, and I am actually editing these videos that you're hopefully watching. So yeah, the more things you learn, the better. If anyone is like interested in me doing a deeper dive in using the CNC and the files I'm using, the images that you hopefully saw in the sign I made, and the other bits and bobs I did for the house are just free images, free downloads. Just Google whatever it is that you want, and I'm using VCarve Pro to turn all my ideas into projects. Yeah, great little video, and if anyone's interested, I can do a video on using VCarve, creating the G codes and saving files and all sorts of stuff. Great tool. I loved learning how to use it, and I like using it. It's great. I made a little shelf for me and my wife, and I've inlaid a little heart in a shelf. There was a defect. There was a big knot in the little bit of oak I had, bigger than this here, and it was quite rotten. So rather than using resin, which I don't know how that's going to go down with YouTube, I'm not a big fan. It's great that we can use resin to save wood that otherwise would go in a fire, but I'm not a big fan of resin. A few years ago, about 3-4 years ago, me and James, my colleague, we've tried to do a table. I'm gonna pop a picture at some point of it. We still have it, by the way. I didn't care much for the process. Maybe it was just lack of experience. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, as I was saying, I used the VCarve, the little CNC, to inlay a little heart in the shelf. So basically cover the defect in the wood with that. And it worked out great. My wife loved it, which is always a bonus. So yeah, I am in the future trying to inlay more different species of wood, just joining them together. Talking is really hard today. I don't know why. Maybe I'm not comfortable in front of the camera, but hey. Right, that's it for today. I'm gonna go home now. See you soon. Okay, funny thing, I've actually misspelled bon appetit in the second part of the video. You'll soon see. My wife spotted it, of course, straight away. I'm actually going to take a chisel at home and just do it by hand. When I did the V-carve, the carving on the sign, I've actually failed to pick up the little squiggle on top of the E. But I'm just going to do it by hand and just a little bit of lacquer with a little paintbrush. I'm actually going to take a picture of that or a short video, and I'm just going to link it to this video. Yeah, just me rushing around. Don't do what I do, just please do what I say. Right, well, I'm going to see you in the next one, hopefully the following Friday. We're a little bit busy with our 9 to 5, and it's been a very busy weekend. Today I've actually just 95% finished fitting a kitchen. The things I do for fun. Right, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.